Okay, we had the new parts come through from the factory. We'll get them on the car ahead of FP1.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Aarava here, and welcome back to a brand new video on my F1 2018 career mode, episode number 9 today for the Austrian Grand Prix. If you guys did miss the French Grand Prix last episode uploaded yesterday, be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. We got the major chassis weight reduction finally installed onto our car. It failed once, we finally got it back, and it's going to be all sunny and no rain here at Austria. But before we get into that, we first got to go through some contract negotiations.
Here we can adjust the terms of our proposal. The more ambitiously we set our targets, the more willing the team will be to give us better perks. We'll have a few chances to suggest a deal, but we need to be careful. If a proposed contract exceeds your value to the team, it will be rejected, and too many attempts will leave us stuck with the original offer.
So obviously, since last time we negotiated a better contract with Haas, we were still being beaten by Kevin Magnussen, and to be fair, since then, Magnussen's won a Grand Prix, so you think maybe we don't have a lot of bargaining power, but from last episode, second place there at France, we also had a good one at Canada. We've had 2 races on the trot where the reputation's just gone up and up and up with our team, and due to that reputation, I think we're in a prime position to negotiate a very good contract. We're going to go for the first driver, the same quali and race expectations, but we're going to go for a hard team goal. So the contract perk that I got given, so far it's been pretty easy to achieve. This one's going to be a lot harder, and that's an incentive for the team to accept terms, because it's going to be not often maybe that I get this contract perk. In terms of the rest of the permanent perks, we're going to go for level 1 race bonus, we're going to go for level 2 on the upgrade speed, and also the simultaneous development, and then we're going to go to none to the pit stop efficiency. I don't need that. The game suggested I go for that. I don't want to. I reckon it'll be way more important for us to get the bonuses from the race, and then obviously the simultaneous development will come in handy at some point. We haven't actually used it really that much, and then obviously the major and minor being decreased by 1 week is huge. So I think this should be good enough. So let's see if Haas are going to accept it.
Our proposal has been accepted. The new contract will take effect from the next race weekend.
Well, there you go. Negotiation successful. Pretty close, actually. The contract value is just about enough under my value you can see on the bottom right there. So we call that pretty damn well. So I would say that's been a much better negotiation than the last one we did. And yeah, I think I'm getting the hang of it almost. I think it's a kind of fine eye and kind of hunch of guessing what's going to be worth what in the game, depending on the team and also your situation. So I definitely read that a little bit better. So going into R&D, of course, we've got this major upgrade now, and just I wanted to show you guys off the chassis tree, because it's really quite interesting how Haas has shaped their chassis tree. Very, very different to anything we've ever seen on F1 2017. We've got this kind of looping thing with the tyre wear, but yeah, we've got that major. We'll wait till after the race to see what we're going to do on the upgrade front, but just showing you then the chart before we get into practice. You can see with that major upgrade moving from France to Austria, we finally move up. McLaren and Renault closed us up a little bit at France, but now we've gone back ahead. But you can see actually Renault and McLaren with us have been going up with us, just not as fast. We've been upgrading at a faster rate, but that's what we want personally, obviously. But all 3 of us are eventually going to get towards that top 3 flight, you would say, within maybe the next season 2 perhaps. So that's going to be really quite interesting to look at how that evolves, but that's how the chart is looking like at the moment. And you can see Ferrari, Red Bull and Mercedes moving about as well. With Ferrari, they're mainly on top for a lot of this season, but it looks like now Mercedes and Red Bull are starting to close them in somewhat. So yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see how that pans out. But let's go into practice then and see what Austria throws up.
Hello and welcome to Spielberg for the first practice session of the Austrian Grand Prix. An opportunity here then for the drivers to learn the track and learn the car, and of course work out all the little kinks that show up when the teams put these cars together at the circuit. Anthony Davidson, this is all very familiar to you, of course, so why don't you give us an idea as to what the drivers will be getting up to in these sessions?
I'd say the first responsibility for drivers during pre-practice is in gathering data for correlation purposes, which allows the engineers to match real-life data against the simulation. Secondly, the driver then needs to dial themselves into a circuit that they may not have driven around for a full year, which is a fact that's often overlooked. And then you finally focus on the details of car setup and the tyre wear. It's critical to have a good relationship with your engineer here so they can make the right adjustments at the right time to the car that ultimately bring out the performance you're looking for.
Right, so into Austria practice, and it's going to be a lot more straightforward than Paul Ricard was last episode, of course. Not a new circuit, one I'm very familiar with, and the major chassis upgrades are working really well. The weight reduction, the major one, has made a huge difference. The car now feels so light and nimble on its toes through the corners. Mid-apex, you can play around with the throttle, you can play around with the steering, move the car very quickly. It doesn't feel as heavy and cumbersome as it did back at the Australian Grand Prix when we started off with the base Haas car. So really happy with upgrades. You know, in terms of pure lap time, I don't know if it'll make a difference, but for my handling and comfort wise for the race, it's going to be a huge benefit for the rest of the entire season, really. So let's get into quali. Let's see how we do.
Thank you for joining us once again for today's qualifying session. Sit back, relax, and enjoy what we hope will be a fantastic contest for pole position. I want to talk briefly about the strategy in these qualifying sessions. Anthony Davidson, how can a driver adjust their approach to gain those critical extra tenths of a second?
So straight into our first flying lap then in Q1 as Ricciardo goes fastest here. That'll be quite something if the Red Bulls are able to pull off what they did in real life with winning at the Red Bull Ring in a Red Bull. That's always a quite neat thing for the sponsors. But we've got a bit of traffic here in the form of Pierre Gasly, the Red Bull Junior. Of course, literally as I record this well, actually I'll let you guess when I'm recording this, but on the day I'm recording this commentary, Pierre Gasly's been announced as a Red Bull driver for 2019. So very exciting times for him, but he holds us up a little bit, so that's a little bit annoying, Pierre, I'm not going to lie. But across the line, it's still an okay lap time though, and feeling pretty good and smooth, and it's actually faster than Magnussen despite that bit of traffic there. So both of us though, myself and Magnussen, P4, P6 there, looking good. Red Bulls qualified on Supersofts and we're quite slow on Supersofts, but really good signs at the moment. It looks like me and K-Mag both have a lot of pace in the tank. So could we be in store for another teammate battle? You know, we had a very intense one at the Spanish Grand Prix, so I don't know, might be shaping up to be the same sort of thing here out around Austria. But at the moment in our Q2 lap, a little bit wide there on the exit of that apex there, so might not be the best lap time. The track definitely started to evolve a little bit in Q2, and not in a good way. Usually the track gets faster and faster, but for me personally, the Haas felt a little bit weird in Q2 compared to Q1. I couldn't get the car around as smooth as possible compared to Q1, and I actually go slower than my Q1 lap time, I'm pretty sure. Magnussen, for definite, goes a lot slower than his Q1 lap time, so the track kind of got away from our car a little bit in Q2, and that got me a little bit worried in Q3 about what we're going to be able to do. And you can see there, I ran over the curbing, and that pretty much definitely lost me at least, you're talking a tenth there, with unable to get the traction down over that sausage curb, and then we get held up with a lot of traffic with my teammate here. Doesn't do me any use. I mean, both of us now are a little bit on the back foot now after Q2, and that's just not helping me, is it? I mean, obviously, it's not a major block, but it's still enough to put me off a little bit, and I can't get the power down as fast as I want. And then through the last corner, a little bit raggedy, and across the line, it's not a great lap time. We have to go again and try and see what we can do, and straight away into turn one, it's going to be a much better take of that. Still a little bit slow for my liking, but you can see in the top right, we gain straight away, like within like 2 seconds of the traction zone, we're gaining time there. And then through the final corner, a little bit over the bump and a bit of oversteer for good measure across the line. It's not been a comfortable Q2 and Q3, I must say, but we still get P8, but it is out-qualified by Kevin Magnussen in P7, so frustrating to be out-qualified by K-Mag. Car went away from us. Hopefully in the race it comes back to us and feels a lot more like it was in Q1. Let's go to the full grid.
Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg, and to a circuit that in one form or another has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. The Spielberg circuit then is situated 700 metres above sea level, with just 10 corners making up one of the shortest laps of the season. One time around here is a distance of 2.6 miles, with the best overtaking chances into turn 1 or the tight uphill turn 3. Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Kimi Raikkonen's perfect lap yesterday sees him start from pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Vettel, Max Verstappen and Ricciardo, Magnussen, the engineer, Hülkenberg and Carlos Sainz, Perez, Gasly, Stoffel van Dorn and Alonso. They've taken a grid penalty. Ocon, Leclerc, Brendan Hartley and Lance Stroll, Sirotkin and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
So this time, no penalties ahead of us, so we are going to remain in P8 and Magnussen will remain P7. Race strategy-wise, should be very, very simple. I think it's going to be a one-stop. The soft tyres should go the distance here after we go off these ultras, so let's just get straight into it then to 5 red lights. To the Austrian Grand Prix, round number 9 of the 2018 season. Fire lights are out and we're underway. It is a mediocre start from us, but not a bad one. We've had a few bad ones in the last couple of episodes. We've had an okay one here. Into turn 1, Magnussen around the outside of the Red Bull, although into turn 1, I do get mugged off by the Renault there, so saying that, the traction may have been good off the 5 red lights, but my turn 1 was not. It was a bit too cautious, to be honest, and the Renault now is side by side with me as K-Mag has overtaken Ricciardo, and Ricciardo, oh, he's hit him! Oh, Magnussen's round! And that is not ended well, and that was not a good view for me, nearly T-boning my teammate. Thank God I was already lifting off to try and, you know, battle the Renault, and there's a full safety car for the first time in F1 2018 career mode here. But we're going to have to take a look at a replay there, because I don't actually know what went on. It looked like Ricciardo hit Magnussen, but then the way K-Mag spun round so quickly was very, very odd. But you can see here, yeah, really bad of me to be side by side with the Renault. Shouldn't be happening, but Magnussen has Ricciardo, and then Ricciardo just plows into him, and then Magnussen hits Verstappen, and ultimately I think it's the touch with Verstappen that actually sends him round, but it was the acceleration that he got into the brake zone due to Ricciardo hitting him that ultimately sent him into Verstappen. So this is on board with Magnussen. You can see here, look at the acceleration, and there, yeah, it's him hitting Verstappen's wheel. Verstappen's rear right tyre rotating has actually caused his car to spin around sideways, but this is why he got that acceleration boost in the brake zone. It was due to Ricciardo, so he gets squeezed out fair and square. He's been overtaken, and here, I don't know what on earth Ricciardo's doing, and Ricciardo's nearly T-boned the Ferrari there as well, going across the grass and the curbing. Very, very odd. And finally, the onboard here from Verstappen. So he also got a little bit punted, but not so much there. I think he might have broken a bit of front. Yeah, he's broken a bit of front wing. So that's both Red Bull cars now. They continue on ahead of us, but they both got, Verstappen and Ricciardo, have both got front wing damage. So let's note that in, because that should surely mean the Red Bulls are going to be quite slow in corners, and so they could be susceptible. Vettel got a hit there by Verstappen as well, so he was lucky not to go around for the sake of his championship fight with Raikkonen and the 2 Mercedes cars. And then look at here, Leclerc, oh my god, the dive bomb of the century and the career mode so far. He gains about 5 positions there, loses 2, then gains 3 back, going across the grass. Very weird first lap for Charles Leclerc, but there you go. I think a net result of gaining about 8 positions there for the youngster in the Sauber, so fair play. But a very, very dramatic way to start off this Austrian Grand Prix then, and not a very good one for the Red Bull cars here at the Red Bull Ring. They both got damage, and so surely this is only a matter of time and patience to overtake Ricciardo. You can see now on lap 4 as we got on the way now fully, and through the last corner, he's so slow. He's literally brake checking me into the last corner because he literally does not have the downforce to keep the car through the corner, and because of that, Hülkenberg now is attacking me, so this is really frustrating. I should be overtaking Ricciardo, but instead I'm being attacked by Hülkenberg there into turn 1. We just about stay ahead, unable to squeeze it through, obviously a very tight first corner, so it's very, very difficult to get 2 cars in, no matter how much room you give, really. Hülkenberg now is going to try it on the outside. We go defensive to the inside, of course, on the apex, plant it there, open up the steering wheel, and we're going to remain in P7. And now, on this next lap, I really need to get a move on, because the 2 Renaults, and then you've got the McLaren a little bit further back, but these 2 Renaults are looking quite dangerous. Obviously, they've had some upgrades in the last race, and it didn't really show too much of Paul Ricard, but around here, they're looking pretty punchy, especially after I get held up by Ricciardo so much, so I need to up the pace. I've got way more pace than this at the moment. This is definitely not my actual race pace. The Red Bulls are definitely slowing us up, so we need to get past Ricciardo now. Again, getting caught up a little bit behind him. I'm trying to find where I can go. Now, I reckon down the inside here of the near flat-out right-hander, just a little bit of a lift-off, down 1 gear to 7th, down actually to 6th in full race fuel, and we're up the order into P6, and now we can try and get a move on to Max Verstappen. He's got a little bit of damage, I don't think as much as Ricciardo, so it will take longer to overtake Verstappen than it did with Ricciardo there. And meanwhile, if we look back behind a replay camera then, and this is literally on the next lap, I think, Hülkenberg now goes down the inside of Daniel Ricciardo, obviously the two to be teammates in 2019 in real life at Renault, but Hülkenberg gets the best of Ricciardo there, and Ricciardo immediately is going to be under pressure from Carlos Sainz there into turn 1. I think it's going to be inevitable that Ricciardo gets overtaken here. Oh no, Ricciardo actually defends quite well, but then on the exit, surely you would say Sainz is going to have the DRS advantage. Ricciardo, he's not going to be able to brake as late as well with that, that aero. It doesn't just affect in the corners, just your braking confidence is just not as much. But for now, he does stay ahead, fair play. But we're going to look at a replay now of this. Was actually whilst the safety car was basically coming back in. This was like a lap after. Obviously, we saw K-Man got spun round. He made a pit stop under the safety car, so he's down at the back. He's third last place, I believe that is, and we're going to watch him do some fantastic overtaking, or fourth last I should say, because I think there's 3 cars behind him, but he's going to be able to do some fantastic overtaking because he's got 2 Saubers ahead of him battling. You've got also the Williams, the Toro Rosso there. You can see Ericsson on the outside of Leclerc, Magnussen already on the outside of one of the Toro Rosso cars, makes it work, and he's got hustling already, and he's now on a little bit of a drag race with the Toro Rosso Honda. Should have the power, obviously, and you can see up ahead, look at that, 3 wide, absolutely amazing racing with the AI cars, Sauber, and Williams there, and the Sauber squeezes out the Williams, and Magnussen may fancy a pop at some point in Sector 2. Let's have a look though, this battle still brews on, and Ericsson is still trying to overtake Leclerc, and look at that, the Williams car darts from the left-hand side all the way to the inside of the circuit, makes a double pass attempt, doesn't pull off. Oh no, it does pull off. Okay, my bad. Looked like for a second there from that angle it wasn't going to pull off, but then look at here goes K-Mag down the inside of the Sauber, and that's going to be a really nice move down the inside. He can now also get on the back of the other Sauber, so Magnussen already determined to still make this a good race. So like Monaco, I recovered from a gearbox failure. Magnussen making sure he recovers from that spin, of course, and he's going very, very well indeed. You can see he's wasting no time at all making these passes here, and so with pace like that and determination like that, I'm pretty sure we could be seeing him in the points later on in this race. And going from one Haas to the others, we move back to our POV now on lap 8, closing up on Max Verstappen as the clouds start to roll in a little bit here at Austria on the left-hand side, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be no rain forecast for this race. And here we go now, getting the slipstream DRS as well. ERS deploying, and can we make a move? Going to fake to the left, go to the right of Verstappen, try and sell him the dummy down the inside, but it's a bad lock up on the right front tyre. We slow it down, we keep it ahead of him for now, but because we've slowed down so much to keep the car on the track, we compromise our traction out there, and also just generally the straight line speed. There's been some contact with Verstappen, and down the straight he's trying to make the move back. We're going to brake early, we're going to do this switchback move to him. He's gone wide over the curbing a little bit, he's run a little bit deep, and we've well, that switchback's actually worked really well, and we get the power down a lot faster than he did. I was actually genuinely surprised that worked, because it wasn't really the best switchback ever, because Verstappen parked in the apex quite well, but we got it done. DRS open as well. We've gone a little bit wide though, we've lost some speed and momentum out that corner. Verstappen's got the traction down on the inside, so he's still there, and this fight is still going on now. We're well into the lap, and it's still side by side. We're going to finally get him, I think, and I think that will be finally the overtake done and booked on Verstappen, and we're up into a very nice P5 here. And the Red Bulls, well, they're just going to continue to struggle, at least for this first stint, because only on their first pit stop will they get to change their front wing, of course. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a really good finish. It could be, well, be P5, because I think, obviously, the Mercedes and Ferrari is going to be well away. So it's really just a case of, if the Red Bulls make their pit stop and don't lose too much time there, can they actually find the pace to then come back in this race? Meanwhile, we've been seeing Magnussen making moves left, right, and centre. He's now got past Fernando Alonso. He's already on the back of Daniel Ricciardo. Think about that. Magnussen's made a pit stop already in this race as Ricciardo tries to dive bomb Van Dorn. Magnussen's pit under the safety car on a fresh set of tyres, and he's already caught up to Ricciardo, who's not pit yet. And I overtook him already in this race. So, like, Magnussen's racing people, I was racing. So, Magnussen's doing a fantastic job here. Of course, he's got an advantage of fresher tyres v everyone. It was a smart decision by Haas to pit him under the safety car, because I don't think he had even much damage from the spin, because I think he had a little bit of cascade element damage on the front wing, but it wasn't anything major, but very, very good they pit under the safety car, because they get a free pit stop, fresh tyres, push the tyres they want, And so now it looks like Magnussen, dare I say, could be on for not just points, very good points. Maybe even around P8, P7, you never know. Let's see. But we make our first pit stop then onto a set of soft tyres. And like I said at the very beginning, it is going to be a one-stop here. So a little bit bland in terms of strategy, I'm not going to lie. I kind of hoped that this was going to be a two-stop for everyone, but only a one-stop because the soft tyres go so long. So thanks for that, Ferrari. But yeah, out in what is now P9. So we just got to keep on going, keep the pace up, and then eventually we'll overtake most of these guys through pit stops. And so we're already up into P7 now by the time we get to lap 17 onto lap 18, and now Ericsson is in. We're up into now what will be P6, and so the only car left is Magnussen, and then that is us up into P5. So Magnussen is looking pretty damn good. He's in clean air, going well, and he's actually gone and tried to overtake Valtteri Bottas. Bottas is in P4, and Magnussen has had so much pace that he's actually closing up and trying to overtake here a Mercedes car. Obviously, the Mercedes is pit. I should say that. I should preface that these cars have already made one pit stop. Magnussen is yet to make his second pit stop of the race, so he's not actually caught the time up to the Mercedes car. The Mercedes, I'm assuming, he's just come out of the pits maybe on the last lap there, but he's going toe-to-toe with Bottas, so you know, either way, circumstances taken into account, still, the fact he's going toe-to-toe with the Mercedes car and actually genuinely giving him a good fight there is really promising for our sake as a car, but also for Magnussen. I mean, just shows you that he's been doing such a stellar job this season, and it's been annoying, and, you know, going all the way back to Monaco, still a little bit, you know, hard done by there, but, you know, Magnussen's been such a good AI teammate so far this season. It's been, as I said many times, very refreshing, because if you've been following my channel for a while, teammates generally aren't that great. Usually I'm the one carrying the team. So far this season, K-Mag's carried most of our races. I've only had a couple in the last couple episodes where I've done a better job, but overall K-Mag's been on top. So let's try and add to another race where we can be on top, hopefully, and bring this home in P5, and let's see where K-Mag could end up, because there is Ricciardo, and K-Mag is ahead of Ricciardo. So he's got Van Dorn to overtake, and then Magnussen will literally be a position behind me in P6 somehow, after being sideways and being literally perpendicular to my car on lap 1, turn 3. That would be quite a story here, and it might just come into fruition. Here he goes. Bit of contact was made, though, and I think a bit of carbon fibre flew off the wing of Magnussen, so let's see if that comes back to bite him, but he's on the left-hand side there, and he's cleanly passed. No contest at all. That Haas in the hands of K-Mag has been flying today, and he's looking very, very good. But we're going to move on now to the top fight here, and it's going to be Hamilton v Raikkonen. So far, Raikkonen, unlike real life, in the game, Raikkonen's been the very consistent one. His AI seems to be a lot better over the years in the F1 games compared to his real life counterpart, and he's now battling for the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix. He leads the championship currently, I believe, and Hamilton now is trying to do something about that, and he's going round the outside of him, and it's going to be a really good move. He pulls it off. He's still got to do it, though, because Raikkonen is finding the pace in the corner there, and he's still kept up with him. I think just about, yeah, Hamilton's just about going to get it. And so it's Hamilton, Raikkonen, and Vettel is in third place. He's a little bit behind, though, from that fight. Obviously, you saw there was no sign of Vettel, so Vettel needs to catch up to Hamilton and Raikkonen. Maybe they will fight enough where Vettel can catch up. But meanwhile now, look at this fight between Ricciardo and Magnussen now. Ricciardo getting around the outside of K-Mag, trying to spoil the party somewhat, and you would say, you know, it was only a matter of time, really, because I'll be very surprised if the Red Bull didn't come back into this race in some kind of capacity. And so Ricciardo down the inside overtakes K-Mag, and, well, unless K-Mag can pull off another miracle here with DRS open, maybe he does it, and maybe re-overtakes, he does, oh my god, he's going to try to overtake Ricciardo again. Yes, he's done it. The power of that Ferrari engine v the Red Bull, knows no bounds. He overtakes him very easily, so, wow. K-Mag back up into P6. Amazing. Meanwhile, it's Raikkonen that leads the way. We've missed the overtake on Hamilton there, but now Vettel drifting through that right-hander down the inside of Hamilton. He's going to make it a 1-2 for Ferrari. Vettel was like a couple of seconds back from Raikkonen and Hamilton, so I reckon when Raikkonen overtook Hamilton, it was a big old scrap maybe, or just they lost a lot of time going side by side because Vettel's caught up. It's now 1-2 for Ferrari. He might fancy himself trying to overtake his teammate. Meanwhile, in the same corner, Ricciardo now sends it down the inside. Less of a drift than Vettel did, and he's going to scrub Magnussen off the road almost. Magnussen keeps his foot in, though, over the curbing. The two still toe-to-toe, and K-Mag pulls across with a Ferrari engine, but Ricciardo pulls it to the outside. He has DRS momentarily. It's a big lock-up, though, for Magnussen, and is that the final nail in the coffin? Ricciardo back up into P6, Magnussen down to P7, and I feel like that might be the final nail. Meanwhile, back to the top five. Vettel on Raikkonen, and traffic of the Toro Rosso. We saw back at Monaco, the Toro Rosso is quite good at getting in the way of cars, and he's done just just that on Raikkonen, and now Vettel might have a good run. DRS open. Will he make a move into turn 1? Not quite yet. The four-time world champion keeps it calm and cool into turn 1. Now he's going to get a second bite of the cherry with DRS. ERS deploying probably at overtake mode, you would say, and he's going to get in the slipstream of his teammate, and this will be hopefully a clean pass on his teammate here. Around the outside he goes. Raikkonen takes the inside line, but Vettel is going to... Oh, no, he doesn't do it quite yet. Raikkonen keeps it to the inside, gets the better traction, and Vettel is going to nip in. I was getting ready to say Vettel's going to go around the outside of him and do him there, but he has not. He's going to have to wait till the very next lap then. Same place, but different kind of style. This time he's waited behind Raikkonen now. He's got the slipstream, and now he's going to dive it down the inside there to the end of this straight, squeeze him out surely on the exit, and just squeeze him off, and he's going to get first place at the Austrian Grand Prix. We've just watched Sebastian Vettel go from third to first. You love to see it. An actual genuine battle at the top there, going from third to first. Great drive there from Sebastian Vettel, and it's going to be a 1-2 for Ferrari though, so they'll still be happy, and Raikkonen can come home still ahead of Mercedes in terms of the championship. But we're going to come home. It's been a very, very quiet race, to be honest, but it's to be expected after what was the lap 1 chaos here, and we come home in a fantastic P5.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
So, another excellent win from Ferrari. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
It was a question of right place, right time today. We were looking at an entirely different race before the safety car came out, but they were able to take full advantage after the field had been bunched up.
Welcome then to the podium, our top 3 drivers. What a great effort from them today in a very difficult race.
P5 looking very, very good, but Kevin Magnussen, I've got to say, what a drive from him to get back to P7. Like I said, the scenes, if you go back to the early part of the video, literally click back there, click to here. It's crazy to think he's actually managed to get P7 after being like that in that state on lap 1 and an extra pit stop under the safety car, albeit still a great job. Ricciardo, though, does want to recover after a front wing breakage, but yeah, really happy to beat K-Mag again. P5 on a roll here, you know, Canada, France, Austria. This is exactly what we needed in terms of a confidence boost. And now, look at that. We are 1 point behind Kevin Magnussen in the driver's title. This is a very close teammate battle. I love it. I love it. The fact that K-Mag has really taken me this close so far this season, and we've still got a whole half season left, to be honest, because it's obviously a very, very long season, so we're not even really halfway technically, and it's already been so great. The dynamic between me and Magnussen, back and forth, and also in the constructors, we get ahead of Red Bull once again here, so great stuff there at the Red Bull ring. We outdo Red Bull. Let's go to an interview.
Good day today. Tell us about it from your perspective. Would you say that your rival is still on your level?
Obviously, we've beaten Carlos Sainz now in the teammate rivalry, I'm pretty sure, so we're going to be very egotistical and say he's not at my level.
Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today?
We didn't have much traffic, and when we did have a little bit of traffic, we got through it quite fast. In general, the Haas car seemed to power through it, so I'll go with the left-hand side option in terms of just pushing as hard as we could flat out.
There was some contact between you two. What happened out there?
I'm going to go for the right-hand answer, saying he needs to watch where he's going, because also, to be fair, you know, Ricciardo, even though he did punt him, K-Mag could have maybe got out of the way to the inside and tried to dive bomb Verstappen instead.
Do you have any comments about the collisions?
Now, truthfully, I think the top one's correct. It wasn't deliberate. The contact they're talking about is the T-bone. That wasn't my fault. I just had to take some avoiding action, made some contact. It was inevitable. So I think that's what we'll go with.
Great. Well, that's everything.
And so there we go. We have beaten Carlos Sainz in the rivalry there. We are at the moment leading the way from Kevin Magnussen on this second rivalry. So that's very, very good. Rep level goes up there for Haas. Obviously, 5th place, really, really good. And you can see for all teams, it's been going really well. You know, really positive signs. You know, you can see the progression we've made in this career mode so far in terms of feeling more comfy by the day. And finally, talking about R&D upgrades, we're going to go for a minor chassis weight reduction. After that minor one, you can see we're getting so deep into the chassis part of the tree. I'm really loving it, and hopefully we can go on further, because you can see there's still more of that tree to go on the chassis side. So Haas I've got a quite in-depth level they want to go on the chassis. So I'm excited to delve into it because I think so far it's just made the car feel better and better and better every single time we get one of these updates going. But that's going to be it for now in terms of I've got points to spend there, but I'd rather save them for another major update on the chassis side, to be honest. That's how good it's been for me. I just feel like I shouldn't waste it on other parts of the car that I just don't feel like are going to benefit us as much, because also we're going to have to wait anyway for those upgrades, so may as well save the points and just kind of deploy them a bit more strategically, in my opinion. So that's going to be this episode then, guys, at the Austrian Grand Prix. If you guys did enjoy it, hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you are new around here, do get subscribed for weekly Formula content. I've been Alfa. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.